Dimension alert, there now is a space mutant named Yakno. Yakno is also, at this time, becoming a big and famous comic star. A star that has been dim, but will brighten again. In a state of Spartan prayer, Yakno was awakened by a blast of smashing electric guitars. At first, Yakno thought the sound was his annoying, infernal alarm clock which never fails its duty of waking him up on the nanosecond. At second thought, Yakno believed it was his quite strange neighbor, who made it his goal in life to begin a band that would start a wave of new-style media for music. At the third thought, Yakno thought it was his new friend Bass who was trying to show off his massive collection of music. In his third guess, he was absolutely right. If you didn't guess that artist and song title, you will still be publicly accepted, and no one will trash you or denounce your very existence. Don't worry, don't do it, Mutant. It was code of ethics in their fourth album, Soulbait. Bass was a square-shaped mutant, but at least he advertised to be a three-dimensional character. There was enough evidence in the country to make a shooty sell his vehicle that Bass was inevitably not going to turn down his super surround-sounding seven-dimensional stereo. Bass really had to get his new album around to the public, because he would certainly benefit from making this operation real. What would his award be for doing this? He would be able to pick out a new digital compact cassette of his choice for free at the local audio-visual store. You may say nothing in life is free, but the story takes place in an unpopulated city in Spartia, called Seaston. Spartia is a place that exists in the minds of a few authors who are amateurs at whatever skill they hope to perfect. Yakno was patiently waiting for the story to begin, talking about his little insignificant life again, when all of a sudden, it did. Yakno is a sometimes spiky-shaped glob of icing who has continuously endeavored to become a three-dimensional character. His shoes were extra powerful for doing things that they were supposed to do. What these shoes were good for has been depicted as trash, but know this, they are able. What I mean is that the Power Huma shoes are able to launch by simple commands. Yakno often uses the flutter command, but you and I know that sometimes doesn't work. You must throw out the words in rage as you go up. Yakno had only been a star for 3 years. The story began in 1997, the year of our amazing and forever controlling Lord. The Power Huma shoes are depicted as a classic among teen pop mutants. Bass spread the advertising word to the children as Yakno's profits for sporting these attachments grew into millions in the Spartian currency. This currency was strong for Bass in the current dimension. This dimension, which was chosen to be fully explored this year, has made Yakno dizzy, but joyful. In the previous dimension, Bass had decided to grow palgawl trees to increase the beauty of his world. Unfortunately, most of the palgawls decayed from frequent yanks and submerged yogurals dedicated by the big mean Wabube. Yakno spent time with Bass's complications in life, but he never helped to change the downward spiral that would gradually make Bass change his notorious attention span. Yakno did give all that he had to become permanent friends with him. The next dimension that Bass would go through was predicted to blow up, but the clear body, Yakno would prevent that. Yakno had asked around about the 98th dimension that Bass would soon inherit, establish and discover. Bass found that the 98th dimension was actually detonated to explode by the usual evil pirates that decided idiotically to float from dimension to dimension. Who will stop the GPs? Right now it's up to the 48 police to hunt them down. You know how reliable the police force of Sparta are. Not very. When a situation is too life-threatening, the PFS, Police 48 of Sparta, call for backup and it's too late. The dimension is a memory only. What this world needs is a dynamic duo or a man of steel to put a stop to the Giho dimension threatening schemes. With little effort, Yakno boots his favorite chair into orbit. In a crying voice, Yakno wonders why he made a decision to do such an event and make it history. His chair joins the hundreds of satellites outside our atmosphere. Technology cannot allow Yakno to retrieve his beloved chair. It's gone. It is a memory. It was here then, but now it's out there in space. How can normal mutants boot objects into a space mission? Bagames does not have information on such important subjects. The internet may know, but orbitability takes much force and distortion in gravity. Guessing may be the best option too. If you really rely on wanting to know, in fiction that is scientific, anything can happen. In a fantasy, nothing but happiness matters. In the future, Bass will most likely promote an idea for Yakno to purchase a new chair. As in classes of old, shopper one would shop at Staples, Home Office, Inkwell or Ernst. If one scrawny, buff mutant would wish to conjure up the stolen data tapes or visit a local business market, the mutant would find Bass chairs all over the nation. Nationwide sale, I would say for you to go as far as any 8 police mutant, coming to a store in the vicinities of Spartia. As the road gets greasier and tougher to follow as an act, Bass will not complete his sale of chairs, but a friend will take over where prosperity is endeavored. While eating the Milky Way, Bass followed Yakno to a place where his old toad, Yodak, used to dwell. Yodak lived a long time and saved many mutants, but last year, the time for him to pass on to the next life came. Yodak was given a treasureful plaque for his achievements 1 hour before his demise by coincidence. Yakno continued his survey of how many bugs kill if given 1 million Spartian currency. If not for the courteous acts of his faithful friends, Yakno would not have finished his procrastinated survey and earned a one-legged Jed A for his valiant efforts. Bass continued his following behind Yakno to record his footsteps. Bass had his mind on his chairs and his chairs on his mind. Once he had all 100,000 of his chairs sold, Bass planned delicately to build a house for his massive stereo system. Suddenly, Bass noticed Yakno intensely increase his footstep speed and Yakno swung around only to accidentally freeze Bass with his protector V-ray. Bass turned to a bright blue color and seemed to begin melting with the fierce heat of the sun in this low altitude. Yakno used a nearby forklift to pick up Bass and place him in the tiny mutant freezer. The temperature was quite low for any mutant to stand for too long, unless they happened to go through Bass's sequence of events. No mutant dared to enter a -100°F tiny mutant freezer. This infamous freezer is now the 3rd coldest freezer in all of Spartia. If the readers did not know this classified information, they will know now. Yakno was attempting to focus his mind on his studies, when from the deep trenches in his brain, he thought of a solution to the problem with Bass. Yakno reversed the polarity in his freezer, so it would unfreeze Bass, but not melt or cook him. When fleeing from his studies in character modeling and attending to the unfreezing of Bass, Yakno remembered to take a video camera to film the experiment at hand. Yes, it was now considered an experiment in the mind of Yakno. You may have queried about how Yakno took all of his equipment along. He used his hover scooter for this critical operation. Have only thoughts of success in your mind, please. This is going to be an interactive procedure. If Bass is to come out of this atrocitical predicament, you readers will deserve the credit.